Top of it, top of it, top of it. It's your boy Coach One Stack, man. And I am back here with a trigger warning for this video, man. You know, this is a graphic story inspired, man. This man, Diddy inspired this gay couple to adopt two sons, man, who were sexually abused in their house of horrors at their home. Now, guys, I wanted to let y'all know, man, this channel has been headed towards human trafficking, amongst other things, on all different levels. And guys, one of the newest ways to do some human trafficking, and shout out to the rainbow community. I have nothing wrong with anybody's sexuality. I don't care about it. Everybody's welcome on my page, but it has been an epidemic of a lot of gay couples, right? Adopting children and then making them conform to their lifestyle and doing things to them they shouldn't do, inspired by Diddy. Can you dig what I'm saying? Now, I want y'all to know something, man. And I know this from talking to human trafficking survivors, in which I will have interviewed on this platform, right? There are many different ways. You got breeding farms where women are bred with babies that don't even exist on paper. And these kids end up getting trafficked throughout the whole course of their life and never even knowing their true identity. Guys, they even give some of these kids death certificates so that there's no trace of this kid ever being born. And now what you're finding in a lot, I didn't know, this is no bash to the rainbow community or anybody's sexuality, but you're finding even a lot of regular adoptive homes, right? This is happening. But guys, I can tell you, you let me know if you have a problem with people pushing their sexuality on their innocent kids. Man, let's get into this video, man. And it is a trigger warning, as I said.
Repeatedly raped. The dads even installed cameras throughout their. A Georgia couple is sentenced to 100 years behind bars after adopting two young boys to repeatedly rape. The dads even installed cameras throughout their family home to capture this ongoing sexual abuse. If that wasn't enough, though, they posted the images and videos online so other predators could view these horrifying crimes. We cover a lot of really intense topics here on Law and Crime, and this one is truly one of the more messed up stories I've ever looked at. I mean, we're talking about two young children who are the victims in this story, which unto itself is heartbreaking. But it's an added layer of depravity when we consider that the bad guys in this story are actually the boys' parents. A family's home is supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be a place where the kids can trust their parents and feel at home, but instead, first responders call this a house of horrors. That's a direct quote. Take this as your trigger warning, because right now we're going to dive into those details. The parents in this case are 34-year-old William and 36-year-old Zachary Zulock. They're a married couple out of Walton County, Georgia, which is just east of Atlanta. We're not revealing their sons' names to keep the boys' privacy, but we can tell you that right now they're ages 10 and 12, and they were adopted by the Zulocks through a Christian.
And no disrespect to the South, guys, a lot of this shit is going on in the South. I just want you to know. The South, a lot of these red states, is where a lot of this it's trafficking all over the world. But guys, there's so much going on in the South. Man, need y'all to keep watching.
Special Needs Agency. Outwardly, the Zulock family seemed to have it all. William worked for the government and Zachary had a job in banking. Their home was upscale too, in a nice neighborhood of Loganville, Georgia. They posted pics online that were smiling, happy, basically looking like they were the picture-perfect family. They even have a photo wearing shirts that say, "Love my family," with the rainbow flag in support of pride. But behind this facade, there was something much more sinister.
Now, guys, I do have a question. Does anybody have a problem, with, it's okay to be whatever you are, but is it okay? Do you guys think it's okay to push your sexuality on your children, to even have your kids walking around with a pride shirt on? I'm just coming from an objective standpoint. Is that cool to just basically raise your kids into the rainbow community lifestyle and take their choice away? Y'all tell me in the comments on this video, man, because I told you this channel's getting rawer by the day. Let me know.
Now, the investigation dates back to July 2022, when the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Exploitation and Computer Crimes Unit got a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. According to this tip, child sex material was traced to an IP address in Walton County, Georgia. That's the same area where the Zulock family lived. But the person behind this address, it was actually a man named Hunter Lawless, who was caught downloading homemade child porn onto his computer. Lawless fessed up right away, though. He admitted to the crime, but he told investigators it wasn't him who created these images. Instead, he said the person behind this child porn sex ring was a man named Zachary Zulock, and he said Zachary had sent him these images and videos, and in the past offered his sons up to Hunter Lawless.
Did y'all hear that? They said that this couple of guys, human trafficking. Let's listen. We have people that are intentionally adopting kids for the sake of trafficking to pass them around. Y'all just heard what that you just heard. This is law and crime. Y'all seen what they just said? You see it for yourself. God, this is ridiculous. Let me know if y'all have a problem with that. Please put it in the comments.
Quick note here, Hunter Lawless pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation of children and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. His arrest also led to the arrest of Luis Vicaro Sanchez, who was eventually charged and sentenced to 60 years in prison. Meanwhile, the investigation pointed back to the Zulock family. Inside their home, investigators collected 7 terabytes of child sex material. Let that number sink in. A terabyte holds 1,000 gigabytes. That's anywhere between 200,000 and 500,000 pictures. Or if it's video, it's 500 hours. That means these dads had more than 3,000 hours worth of child pornography recordings of their own sons. And if you want to quantify that in photos, we're talking upwards of 3.5 million pictures of 2 young boys, now ages 10 and 12. Investigators later revealed that the dads set up security cams in their own home, like how we see nanny cams or ring cams inside of our home, but these cams weren't used for security reasons. Instead, they were used to record the sexual abuse that was taking place all over the home. Investigators say both parents repeatedly raped these boys and recorded it with video or photos, but that wasn't all. They also admitted to all of these crimes in texts and social media messages. Investigators say the men would brag to their friends, saying they planned to have sex with their sons, and then they would follow up after they carried out this really disturbing act. Both men eventually admitted to this, saying to investigators that they sodomized the boys and forced them to perform oral sex on both parents. Here's how the charges broke down. William Zulock was charged with 6 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of sexual exploitation of children, and a couple other sexual offenses. Zachary Zulock was charged with 2 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of sodomy, 3 counts of sexual exploitation of children, 2 counts of pandering for a person under 18, and other sexual.
Now, guys, pandering is pimping. Just so you guys know. And guys, I want y'all to push this video. Man, y'all need y'all to share this video 1,000 times, because it seems, man, when I talk about people of color, or I talk about the Epsteins, or I talk about this, they don't want to push my video. Y'all the only one that can push this content, people. So make sure y'all comment, interact, subscribe to the channel, share this video. This shit has to stop, man. We dropping tea, not just on the celebrities. We dropping tea on everybody. Can you dig it? If you agree with that, man, put T in the comments, man. I really want 1,000 comments on this, man. 1,000 shares. This stuff needs to be shared, because I know a lot of y'all ain't even seen this yet.
Sexual offenses. Now, William pleaded guilty to all these charges back in August, and Zachary pleaded guilty to all but 1 charge. That didn't work out for him, though, because he took it to a bench trial and was found guilty there. Just this month, both men were sentenced to 100 years in prison without the possibility of parole, meaning they'll spend the rest of their lives behind bars. This case is truly one of the most disturbing I've covered in my career. I'm still trying to make sense of it all. Let's bring in trial attorney Krista Ramey to help us out too. Krista, have you ever seen a case like this before?
You know, it's like, no. Well, first of all, no. And it's almost as if these men adopted these children for this explicit purpose.
They did. See, human trafficking, people. Guys, this is another level of human trafficking. You see, I'm not laughing. You see, I'm not playing with the flashlight today, right? This is another level of human trafficking. kids getting adopted. They already don't know where they come from, and now they're being groomed and they're made to do all these things. And as you see, they've been passed around, even pandered. That means when somebody was pandered on, that means they actually accepted money for people to do things to these victims. This is sick. But let's see how many of y'all really like this video.
To exploit these children. And so it turns my stomach. It's terribly disturbing.
The details of the case are very disturbing, upsetting, as you said. But let's start way at the beginning, the adoption. What you said, I think, kind of sounds true, the fact that they adopted these kids with the intent to abuse them. But it does get me thinking, we have a huge need for adoption in our country. How can we make sure that these adoptive parents aren't going to, I know this is an extreme, obviously, but make sure that they're going to treat the kids right?
In every state, including Georgia, there are so many safeguards that are put into place before a parent can legally adopt a child. There are home visits, there are background checks, there are references required, there's drug screening. The children have to be at least 10 years younger than the adoptive parents in Georgia, specifically. They have all of these systems in place to help screen out this, but you can't screen out for
Georgia. But see, when it comes to black folks, y'all want to talk about Atlanta. Let's talk about this shit. Let's see what y'all got to say.
Everything. And so I think that here, these things just got missed, but it's troubling to me that they got missed because this couple clearly has some sort of fetish and that was discussed among their friend circles, apparently, of being attracted to young boys. And so I think that there should have been some red flags in the background check that got missed in this case that should have probably been caught.
You mentioned the discussions with their friends, and that was something that just turned my stomach completely. There was at least one message with their friends, and one of the dads said something like, "I'm going to have sex with my son, stand by." That right there, Black.
Hold up. Did y'all hear what he said? Hold up. Did you hear what he said? I'm going to have sex with my son. Let me go back. Let me tell you. Listen to what they said. Look how sick this is. This is how kids get trafficked, y'all. Make sure y'all like, subscribe to the channel.
Turned my stomach completely. There was at least one message with their friends, and one of the dads said something like, "I'm going to have sex with my son, stand by." That right there, black and white, you're admitting to what's going on. You said, son, that's incest. He's obviously under 18 years old. So that's basically a confession written right there. Why would this person write that out to their friends and then investigators can now use it against them?
Because they truly have a diagnosable mental illness. They have pedophilia, they have a sexual disorder of some other sort as well. And I don't believe that they think that they will get caught. It doesn't make sense to me that people would engage in this kind of conduct without knowing that. But there are the children, the Center for Missing Children and Exploited, I'm saying this wrong, the Centers for Missing and Exploited Children do wonderful work in trying to find all of this material that's online. Because a lot of times what they're doing and what happened here is that they're not only having sex with their children, they're posting it online. And I read a story prepping for this interview that just recently, this month, 49 accounts were taken down on OnlyFans that were suspected of having what's called CSAM material, which is childhood sex abuse material. And it is just stunning to me that that can even exist online and that it's not getting, how does that company allow that to exist for that period of time online? It just blows my mind.
God, they let, man, look, they let you know that these people are peddling their pedography on OnlyFans, and some of y'all actually out here paying for it. How do y'all feel about OnlyFans now? See, man, when some of y'all be catching your husband on OnlyFans, you don't know what kind of account. See, a lot of y'all accuse your dude of paying women on OnlyFans, but you just seeing yourself. They might be looking at something else on OnlyFans. Hey man, if you somebody, man, that didn't caught your man playing on OnlyFans, put OnlyFans in the comments, because you don't know what they was looking at. You better go check that browser.
Absolutely agreed. Thinking about the details of this case, going through it, I don't even like having to think about it. But the fact that some kids deal with this, some parents deal with it, it's just discussing the fact that we have to talk about it. But you brought up something really good. You brought up OnlyFans. This is something we saw in this case. I believe the investigators said there were 7 terabytes worth of child sex material. Now, a terabyte is huge. That's a lot of files and details. That is an overwhelming amount of evidence, wouldn't you say?
Yes, very much so, and hence the guilty plea, I believe, and thank God for that. But it, from what I understand, that they had cameras all over their house. They were, abusing them in ways that are just horrific to even imagine.
Cameras like Diddy, huh? Diddy cameras.
And the torture that these kids went through, and we do unfortunately, hear a lot about torture and abuse of children, but this one seemed particularly disturbing to me. The amount of, your home's supposed to be safe, and the fact that they put these children through this and the damage that it has undoubtedly caused. I think that they were like 10 and 12 years old. They're young.
Hey, all you business owners or anyone thinking of a side hustle, I have to take a second. And accounting app, thanks. You.com/LC talked about the message admitting I'm going to have sex with my son. But then, as you pointed out, there are cameras inside of their home, not just, explicitly for this, but also just throughout their home, just really tough stuff to have to grapple with. The fact that they have all of this, you mentioned the guilty plea. Would that have been a wildly strong case for prosecutors against these 2 defendants?
Yes, absolutely. And, I think that the reason why you did not see the prosecutors move forward with a trial on this is because they didn't want to put the victims through a trial. And so when you have this amount of overwhelming evidence and you've got victims that are this young, the best way to go is, if possible, to get a plea. And normally, with a plea comes some sort of lesser sentence. And in this case, you did not see that. You saw literally the book thrown at these guys. So there was no deal with respect to a plea of guilty, and then we'll, for a lesser charge, and we'll, reduce the time just to get this done. It's no, you can plea, but there's going to be no consideration for the fact that you pled. And the judge will give you whatever sentence that, he deems or she deems is fit. And that sentence we are going to urge be the maximum.
Which is what we saw in this case. We'll talk about that in a second. I wanted to talk a bit more about the investigation, though, in that the way that these 2 men were caught is that someone else was looking at this child sex pornography material. Their IP address was tracked. And then basically he said, oh, I got it from this person, led to this child sex ring, kind of opening the floodgates, so to speak, into all of this. Is that how a lot of perpetrators in these cases are caught, from one person to the next, kind of listing the names?
Yeah, exactly. Well, where someone gets caught and then they go through and, find out where they received information from. And then it leads them back to here, this couple in Georgia. So I believe that also this was part of an investigation that was done by the Center for Missing and Abused Children. And that was part of that discovery that they had as well. So I think there was multiple sources that led them back to this point, which I think is, fantastic in terms of the work that organizations are doing in cooperation with law enforcement to help make sure that they find and track down everybody. Like I said, this month alone, 49 OnlyFans websites taken down. I'm sure that there'll be criminal charges related to every single one of those. And I don't know if this one was included within that or not, but, you're seeing, a big sting happening with websites such as this. And you can almost tell, and this is going to be very disturbing, how they are marketed out there. So you'll hear they'll be advertised with words like innocent and, inexperienced, but also with lollipops specifically. And these children are called lollipops. And so they are advertised.
Guys, lollipops? I just learned something new in this human trafficking world. They're calling these young people lollipops. Guys, if y'all ever heard this lollipop thing, no jokes. Put lollipop in the comments because I never heard this before. Like, this is shocking to me. You know, it's shocking to me. But lollipops? Really?
Selling lollipops in some cases. It's these triggers that people now know are associated directly with CSAM material. And it's just incredible in terms of the magnitude that, that's out there of material.
It kind of gets me thinking with you talking about that, how they're marketing this so they're not saying explicitly illegal material, but the lollipop thing that you mentioned, which is just shocking. But it does get me thinking too, the sheer amount of instances that this is occurring. I mean, is it more than we can even fathom across the country, the world?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it is. I know lawyers that specifically practice in this area of law, and there's not enough of them, but they want to make sure that they are a small group because they're very, very specialized in this area. But it is way more than you can imagine. When I go to conferences and sit in on lectures related to this, I am always blown away by the numbers every single time. And I think that I wouldn't be able to hear something that would surprise me. And then yet again, it happens. So it's not getting better as technology is getting more advanced. It's getting worse. Now with AI, they're taking, images of children that were not taken, exploiting them, but then using AI to put the face of that child in sexually explicit ways and on a body of another person. And that is now exploiting that child in different ways, even though the child isn't themselves going through the sexual act, but their image is. And then it's being sold on the internet. So it's, as technology gets more and more advanced, these criminals are getting more and more advanced in how they are finding ways to, make their money, exploiting children in this way.
That use of AI is really disturbing. I had never even thought of that. That's just a whole other realm of situation we've got going. But back to the two defendants here, we talked about their sentencing, 100 years, life without parole. I mean, the details we've discussed are pretty devastating and disgusting. I think it's justified. What do you think? Is that a reasonable sentence?
Guys, do you think 100 years is a reasonable sentence for this pedophilia and this human trafficking? Y'all tell me what you think is a reasonable sentence in the comments.
Yes, I think in some cases that what these men did to these children is worse than killing someone. It is, I think, the worst act that people can commit is an act of this sort of abuse on a child so young. So I have no problem at all with the sentence. I think the sentence is just.
In talking about this case, we have to remember about these two young boys, now 10 and 12. I mean, they're not even in middle school yet, really young kids. Investigators have said that the kids rebounded. That's something specifically they said. They've risen above this, so to speak, but obviously it's going to be with them.
And they've risen above it, guys. That's enough of that, man, because this human trafficking stuff has got to stop. I'm here to show it to you guys on all levels. See, Diddy inspired this. You understand what I'm saying? You have Oprah who helped inspire this kind of stuff. See, the poor people want to imitate what the rich people do. The rich people, they always want to do things and be able to get away with things and possess things that the average person like you and I can't. You dig what I'm saying? So what other way to traffic a child for your to have somebody for your own sick fantasies, but to do what? Adopt somebody, right? Some of these people who are getting adopted don't even have paperwork. They don't even know who they are. These kids will never know that they've been trafficked. They think it's a way of life. Guys, Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. You put in the comments, man. You put in the comments what you think should happen to these parents. What do you think should happen to parents that do stuff like this? Because y'all might get ready, might as well get ready, because I got a whole lot. I got unlimited amounts of this shit coming to our channel. Can you dig it? Hey, man, and you know the rest, people. Be blessed. Don't ever get stressed. Make sure you never, ever get finessed, right? And hey, man, look out for the trafficking kid. They might be getting trafficked at an address near you. Check out this next video.